Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? It's Terrell, Hall of Fame, D-Line, TBKC, and all that sweet, beautiful, wonderful shit. I started this video off real fast by saying rest in peace to my beautiful aunt, Francine Cherry. Legendary Frank White. It's always strange when you get those calls from, and they tell you the people who you thought could whoop the world, and you've seen them in action, some of the toughest and good-hearted still. When they go, it's like, damn, it's shocking. Shook me up a little bit yesterday, but we got to move on, and I'll be home soon, y'all. But with that being said, this video is basically a lot of what we go through all the time anyway. And we go through these conversations. This is not the page for those dogs, but I do have to address those dogs as different topics come up and people ask me to go in on them. So from my standpoint, this is it. And this particular topic was on the TBKC page, and I would rather do a video about it than to go back and forth on post. And this is the thing. I understand that some people have, a Rocco blood, a Miyagi blood, a Dax blood, whatever the blood may be, and they have a hard time, especially with Dax, understanding the perspective of those with the clean dogs. Now, this is where I'll give you this, is that if you say, has there been some Dax dogs, and like I say, here we are talking about this dude again, but have there been some Dax dogs that have been good dogs? Absolutely. I love Lucky Luciano. Like I said, that boy Dallas. I've seen a few that I actually like. Now, this is the question that comes into play. As far as the dogs that are out there now that have Dax blood in them, what is his contributing factor besides his name? And what I mean by that is a lot of people cling to the name Dax line, this, Dax line that, Dax. And sometimes you'll look at the pedigree of their dogs, and literally Dax is like the great-great-grandfather or something like that, or, you know what I mean? His percentages, if you did it, analytically, would put Dax as a lower percentage of the dogs that they have. So with that being said, you wonder, like, why do people cling to the Dax name? Or why do people cling to a lot of these dogs' names? You see the same thing happen with Miyagi and other famous dogs. And this is what I'm saying, like I say, the guy who put it up is actually a good friend of mine, cool ass dude. And so I'm not taking a shot at him at all, but the one thing I am is putting a perspective. He knows how I feel about Dax anyway. But this is the perspective. Now, and this is one of the weirdest things that I hear, and it's strange, because, and we'll keep it on, say for instance, Dax for this one, because we know about his confirmation issues and health issues and everything that came along with it. Well, if you are saying that you have a show dog, for instance, right? You have a show dog, I've seen people be like, man, my Dax blood is clean. My Dax blood runs around, don't have no problem with health. Don't have no problem with heat, don't have any problem with breathing, beautiful top lines, great angles, you know what I mean? It's got everything, this is what it is, you know what I mean? And when you look at this pedigree, it's going to be probably 25% Dax, maybe 30% Dax, you know what I mean? Sometimes lower percentages of Dax than that. So my question to the people who say this is, are you presenting Dax, or are you presenting everything that you use to clean up Dax? Because if you're presenting Dax, you would be presenting high rears. If you were presenting Dax, yes, you would get a big neck. You know what I mean? But if you were presenting Dax, you would also be getting, horribly stiff stifles and a terrible top line. If you were presenting Dax himself, you would be presenting a dog that had, issues breathing. Now, with all that being said, can you clean up some of it? Of course you can. But anytime we talk about cleaning up an issue with a dog, you're not presenting that dog. You're presenting the dogs that you use to clean it up. Y'all follow me on this? Because far too many times we'll take a blood because it's popular and we'll use every other blood in the world. We'll do everything we can to eliminate the issues that inherently come with this blood. But at the same time, once you get a good, clean, finished product and the dog looks really great and this dog has great conformation and has everything else that the dog that you are pushing does not have, then you want to claim that it's that dog. You know, it's a Miyagi thing. It's a Dax thing. It's a this. It's a that. And the thing of it is that you're not presenting Dax or Miyagi or whatever the dog may be that has, you know what I mean, conformational issues, whether it was Berserk or Freak Show or whoever. You know, when you present these things, hey, shut up, puppy. Hey. When you present these things, you are presenting the dogs that you use to clean that blood up. And this is what I say is one of the weirdest things about our community and the American bully community is constantly what we do over and over again is we try to do like a magic show almost where, you know what I mean, I'm going to show you this thing over here, and while you're looking at this, I'm going to slide something in on you. And that's sort of what we do, because anybody who has ever had experience with any of these bloods know the one thing that you cannot afford to do is you cannot afford to just compound on top of those bloods. So the simple fact that you can't afford to just go Dax, 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 or Miyagi, 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 or whoever the dog is, Freak Show, Freak Show, Freak Show. And those are some of the more popular dogs that didn't have the best of conformation. Well, if you're doing this, you can't double up on them. All of y'all, a lot of y'all been in my inbox, man. You know, I know that ain't the blood that you like, but you know what I mean. I can clean it up and get the attributes out of it and do this and do that, and then you know I'm on point. Well, honestly, what you've done is you've reached out for the dogs who are already clean that you don't want to give any credit to or name recognition to those dogs to fix the issues of the dog that you like and that has the name recognition and has a following, and you want to take all of the great genes that come from those other dogs that you mix into your dog and then say, oh yeah, but this is a Dax dog, or this is a Miyagi dog, or whatever, when those are not the characteristics that are displayed in that line. That in itself is a falsity. You know, that in itself is a falsity. If it can't stand on its own, it's not that dog doing it. For instance, you know what I mean? When you looked at a Remy could stand on his own. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go and help Remy out with a bunch of nothing. Remy could throw his look over and over again, create a line. He did it. It went worldwide. You know, Remy was Remy. Remy stood on his shit. Remy produced greatness. When you look at a dog like Paco stood on his own. Not to say that, of course, you can't breed Paco, even though some do, or Remy, you know, but the most amazing part is that we've seen people who've done 10 times, 12 times. I got a female that's literally like 12 or 13 times Paco. You know, we've seen, I think the highest I seen was somebody said they had 20 times Remy. The dog didn't fall apart. You can't do that with those dogs that have terrible genetics. You can't do it. It's something that I don't recommend doing in the first place, but you can't do that with a dog that has terrible genetics and terrible health issues and flaws. So therefore, the dogs who do have health issues, excuse me. And yeah, I gotta sip a little wine today. But the dogs that do have those issues, it's a must that you go ahead and you do everything that you need to do to fix those issues. You breed away from bad characteristics. You breed away from the health issues. You know, a lot of Dax breeders will not breed to dogs with high rears. You know why? Because he had the high rear. They will not, you know, the ones who are trying to clean it up, they're pushing to get away from the dogs that have the heart murmurs and the issues. So ultimately, the Dax breeders who are very successful, if you look, and when I say successful, I'm not talking about money. Excuse me. I'm talking about conformation and health. But when you look at those dogs, man, it's a blend of edge blood and it's a blend of other bloods. Let's not just say edge blood. You know, you might see some old school gray line in there. You might see some I've even seen people put gaff to it, you know, to clean it up. And it's always something that you use to clean it up. And what I'm getting at, and y'all already see what I'm getting at, is that really when we use these dogs, a lot of it all boils down to name, you know? And when you look, you know, you show me all of the great, you know, dogs that come off of these dogs with these health issues and all this other stuff, and their great lineage and how they're producing without the other dogs. And the thing of it is, once again, if it's a great conformation dog, Dax didn't do that. And the biggest thing of what I say about that also is that not only if it's a great conformation dog did Dax not do that, but also in the same breath, I would also say that if the dog, you know, has some bulliness to it, sometimes that didn't just come from one dog. And that's another misconception to where we be like, oh yeah, certain dogs produce a certain level of bulliness. I mean, I could take y'all through the annals of bully time, and I could show you plenty of super bully dogs, you know. I mean, we go back to the day to Thing, and Thing wouldn't be considered overly bully now, but Thing was a 100-pound dog. You know, you go back to, you know, Pokemon. Pokemon was a very bully dog. You know, Hallie herself was very bully when she was at her prime. So with all those things being said, you know, we could name even more. Paco was a very bully dog. If you ever seen Paco in person, you looked at that frame that he had, and there wasn't a whole lot more that you was gonna put on that frame, you know. And they kept the correctness and the confirmation and the health and everything else. So when you look at all of that, man, the bottom line to it is that true American bullies are not being given the credit that they deserve in the community, because people want to push a narrative of other dogs that are supposed to be now carrying our breed due to popularity, not true contributions to what it is that we do here. You know, at the end of the day, as I've said it many a times, and I always say at the end of the day, so y'all forgive me, but you know, it was plenty of very, very bully dogs. It was 100-pound dogs 20 years ago. It was, you know, when the pocket was came in, you know, for instance, you know, if I had to guesstimate, Paco was over 80 pounds. I know that by looking at Little Row. He was way thicker than Little Row, and I had Little Row at 76 pounds. So, you know, and this is a 16-inch dog, well into the 80s. You know, you have a bitch like Hallie that was, I know from her highest weight was actually 90 pounds, you know, on a pocket frame. You know, Remy was a nice, you know, a nice 85 to 90-pound dog. Pokemon was huge. You know, these are dogs from years back, and there was a lot of dogs. Believe me, they are the more popular dogs, but there was a lot of dogs who were actually thicker than them, thicker and bullier than them with great structure. So now we just use anything in a name to try to explain our dogs, when the reality is it's all branding, you know. It's all branding now. It's nothing about what the dogs can do, their actual conformation. Does their faces, you know, does their face and their heads fit the breed? Do they have great conformation? All that stuff. That's not our first and foremost. Our first and foremost is names, you know, popular breeders, popular dogs. And the truth of the matter is that I would love to see the dogs in the pedigree, maybe who didn't even have a big name, but that actually fixed the issues and the flaws behind some of these dogs, actually get credit, because that's the way it is. 90% of the dogs that claim that they have Dax line, they're Dax dogs. If you look at the dog, they're not even 50% of his blood. You know what I mean? Be quiet, boy. They're not even 50% of his blood. You know what I mean? Most of them are not even 30% of his blood, but they rep him because he's a name and he's a brand. Not, you know, if he pops up anywhere in the pedigree, people rep that shit. And at the end of the day, it's often repped in a strange way of saying, but it's going to be clean. Well, that didn't come from him. Rep the dogs that made the blood clean. That's it. Because if we keep on saying, oh yeah, I got a clean, you know, Miyagi dog, I got to clean this, well, at the end of the day, you know that that's not what Miyagi was about. The simple fact that you say, I got to clean whatever dog represents the fact that you know most of those dogs aren't clean, and your dog is the exception to the rule. Whereas, you know, the dogs behind it that fixed it, they're the ones who should be getting the credit for the cleanliness, the cleanliness and the great conformation and the great health. And these are the foundations of what the dog is bred for. So, you know, I mean, just to shoot down those theories and to be real with y'all is that at any point in time that we are breeding from here on out, we should be real with ourselves. Where do characteristics come from? Where are certain characteristics in our dogs coming from? What makes our dogs what they are? And not just, you know, give all the credit to the dog with the biggest name in there. It's been breedings, you know, that I've done where my dogs, you know, didn't do all the work. It's been a lot of breedings where my dogs didn't do all the work. Some of the best breedings that my dogs have done have actually been, you know, because they were bred to bad bitches and the genes complemented each other. And it's not to always say, oh yeah, that's a such and such dog and this, that, and the other. But the one thing for sure that you can't, you know, that I would be able to say is that if it's got great conformation, my dogs had something to do with it, you know. Well, until next time, y'all, my little crazy people over here, they going crazy. So I'm going to let them do what they do, man. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.